This is Lemon's Car Spotting. You post to Instagram with the hashtag Lemon's Car Spotting. We pick the hooptiest.
They are so incredibly terrible.
And which one we want to become a real Lemon's build.
Baby. I am a true fan of these fine motor vehicles. All right. Hey, everybody. It is Nick. That's Eric. And this is Lemon's Car Spotting.
That's right. And Lemon's Car Spotting is a new feature we've added to our YouTube channel, wherein we talk about some of the cars that you see on the street. Now, this can be a cool car, but probably isn't unless it's in a silly situation. Most likely it's an interesting car or a bad car or just a car that's totally ready for lemons. You take a picture of that, you post it to Instagram, and you tag it hashtag Lemon's Car Spotting over... backwards anyway, and we talk about them here on this show.
Yeah, that's right. And for each episode we have two award winners. We have the hashtag hooptiest and the hashtag lemons build, and what that means is each of us will select one of those two awards. One of us will select the hooptiest, one of us will select the lemons build, which is the car that we think has actual lemons potential. And how we decide who picks that is a proprietary system. Lemons build, hooptiest. Eric, close your eyes. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
All right. This one is the hooptiest, I believe. You will be doing that. I'm doing the lemons build. Let's get into it.
All right.
All right. There we go. Oh, boy.
Man.
So this is from Jeff Glenn, a former Lemons fixture, on to greener pastures, but he's still out there finding stuff in the wild, and he has found this Subaru Outback.
I believe you mean American Cities Racing League champion Jeff Glenn.
That is absolutely true. 1997 ACRL champion Jeff Glenn.
Man. I like seeing this thing being used as a pickup truck when you could just as easily buy a pickup truck for less money.
See, I think that the start of this project, it's the Big Bang Theory. And I think that the start of it was they had a regular ass Subaru Outback, and one day it got run over by a dump truck. And they thought, well, the back of it is now compromised, but let's make something out of nothing, which, you know, there's a lot of lemons logic in that. So I can kind of appreciate it. Aesthetically, maybe not the greatest achievement in mankind, but I like it. It's different.
I give it high marks for the flame job or the waves or whatever's happening on the rear fender-ish thing.
Yeah. The diamond plate. Well, it's not only on the fender, but it's on the tailgate, such as it is as well. So it's diamond plate artwork. Is that a radiator over on the right? And if so, why?
Yeah, man, there are just so many questions. Maybe they moved. You know, I have no idea. I frankly have no idea why you would do that.
We have no idea. And with that, we are moving on to the next one. Oh, man. Baby. So this is from Panama Car Spotting. Our friend Jake down there in Panama City. A regular contributor to Lemon's Car Spotting. He always finds good stuff. Infiniti M30 Convertible.
Is that a thing that they sold here?
Yeah, it is. And in fact, that was a major plot point in the blockbuster film Three Kings, wherein... Yeah, I forget the exact context, but the long and short of it was that Ice Cube, with the riches that they were going to get from stealing Saddam's gold, was going to buy himself a Lexus convertible, and they informed him that at the time of the Gulf War in 1991, there was no such thing as a Lexus convertible, and everybody in the movie told him throughout that no Lexus convertible, only Infiniti. And this was the car they were talking about. Yeah.
That's a good pull that you got there.
Yeah. And I want to say that I think that an Infiniti M30 eventually did make an appearance in the movie.
I would hope so.
Proving everybody's point. I think it's based on the JDM Nissan Leopard, which is sort of maybe a distant 240 SX cousin. It's rear drive. I don't know, kind of a cool car.
Yeah, all that JDM Nissan stuff kind of runs together in my mind. It had a 300ZX engine, and then I think the architecture was Nissan Leopard, probably closer to a 240 SX. The Leopard also, by the way, sold as the J30 here, which had the roundy ass. It's a great ugly car.
Those are, I didn't. Here's a funny story. I didn't know that those were rear drive because, they look this sort of generic blob-shaped Japanese car. You assume that it's, based on whatever front drive family car they have. I didn't know that the J30 was rear drive until I saw one in Oakland doing donuts. I was like, that's a rear-wheel drive car right there. What do you know?
Well, it looks a lot like the contemporary Altima. Like the styling is the same, and it's the same company, so that's an easy assumption to make.
Yeah, you would think. Well, Nissan works in mysterious ways.
That's right.
All right. Oh
man.
Well, Eric, our resident Midwesterner, why don't you start us off with this Saturn?
Yeah, so like my first real girlfriend in high school had an SL2 of this vintage, and her dad drove an SC2. It's the Saturn family, and they're kind of not terrible cars. When you put it up against the Chevy Cavalier that GM was also building at the same time, it's kind of an order of magnitude better. But man, they are awful in lemons, just straight terrible.
What's funny is before you said that, I was going to say, they aren't so bad in lemons.
There've been like 2 lemons teams that have really made a Saturn work, and the rest give up. Yeah. Right.
Maybe those are throwing the numbers off. We got to throw out, it's just like the Olympics. You got to throw out the highs and the lows and what you're left with. By the way, that post was from Salty Thunder Racing, noted Fiero-based team out there in Colorado. So, they know excellence when they see it.
You know what? That calls to mind 2 more things. One is I owned a Saturn of this color. It was a wagon, and it was a great car. I loved that car. Not a good car, I guess I should say, but a car I loved. And also, totally spaced on. Oh, the best Saturn engine I know of in lemons was swapped into a Porsche 914.
That's right.
It's a weird car.
Yeah.
And there exists some kind of conversion kit, and we didn't believe them. We're just like, what? All right, whatever. Just run the thing. Yeah. Finished like 20th or something. Yeah.
Well, the 914, and I think we're going to cover this on a Lemons World at some point. When we first started doing lemons, we thought the 914 was going to be like the ultimate car because it was cheap, it was mid-engined and lightweight, and it was air-cooled. So less complex, less parts to worry about. Man, we could not have been more wrong.
Yeah, you totally bombed that one.
and case in point, swapping in a Saturn motor made the 914 like at least 4 times as good as a regular 914. So there you go.
Accurate.
All right.
Now,
oh boy,
I've heard it discussed with you and Jay that like when Lemon started, this was like the archetype, like the peak most lemony car you could ever have in lemons.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason for that was that there are some sort of obvious lemony cars. I mean, cars that were known as lemons even before the 24 Hours of Lemons. Things like the Ford Pinto and the AMC Gremlin and such. Yeah. But then, we are connoisseurs and we are fancy West Coast elites. And so we were thinking about cars. What are some cars that sold in enough numbers to where there was a time where you would see them driving around and it wasn't that weird? Fast forward to now where seeing one in the wild is like the most remarkable thing that's going to happen to you. Yeah. So the Renault Fuegos. Yes. So this car, which of course is a Renault Fuego, is really at the intersection of all of that. Like, they were around in the 80s in California. And not too long after that, they were not around.
We've had one in Lemons ever. And the team, when they were done with it, I think they actually set it on fire and threw it in a dumpster. They were done with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, interestingly, so when we first created the Lemons Facebook page, under interests, we listed only two things, which I think are still the only two things that are on there, which is Hall & Oates and Renault Fuego. And it took 10 years, if not more, for an actual Fuego to show up in Lemons. We certainly had a Hall & Oates theme before that. So, and that's been in the one and only Fuego. So that's still a car that is on our list. All right. No.
Man,
$500 my ass.
Yeah. Now I will admit that I cannot tell my Mercedes apart for anything.
I'm gonna get this wrong, but this is an EClass. Oh god, there's no way I'm gonna get the generation right. But this is like an early 2000s, late 90s EClass. And these were cars like pretty much any luxury car, maybe save for a Lexus from that era, where they were hella expensive when new and are hella Lemons grade priced now. So, it's a classic thing. They're nice cars. They've got a lot of nice features, but there's a lot of little stuff that goes wrong and the value just plummets. And from what we've heard, your mileage may vary again, but that the basic architecture of the suspension and the engine and the drivetrain is all pretty tough on these things. And it's just the electronics and whatever else that sort of becomes their downfall. And the theory is that in Lemons, you don't need heated seats or headlight washers or all that stuff that's going to end your day if you're trying to drive one on the street. So in theory, you can have yourself a pretty high performance car for not a lot of money. In practice, I'm not sure that it quite works out that way.
No, we had a team who had, if it wasn't one of these, it was some other E-Class. And, V8, they were Mercedes techs. They knew everything about it. And, man, like the first race, 20 minutes in, I walk over and they're like literally like head scratching. Like, I don't know. Yeah. We took all that stuff out. And, that's probably the problem. Like everything's freaking out because you took all the stuff out.
Yeah. Well, German cars are famous for having components that no other car has that also fail and are also interconnected in a way that cause unrelated failures. So, you'll have something like, most cars like, we have a headlight switch, and the headlight switch goes to a relay, which is connected to the battery and the headlights. And German cars will have the, lamp control module all spelled in one word in German. And when that goes bad, then the car stops running and it costs $800 to fix. So I think that's what these dealer techs found.
Yeah. Yeah. The headlight control module is also the ground for the fuel injectors or something.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, 100%. And I will say that these dealer techs, I think they got the car because it got abandoned at their shop. Like somebody came in for service and didn't want to pay the exorbitant price. So it was just sitting out back. And so they, got it that way. And then B, I think that car has actually occasionally been competitive, but it took them 8 to 10 races to iron out the bugs to get to that point. So,
right. Yeah. Top 10-ish car, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe
eventually
on paper. Yeah. All right. Well, this is from Johan, the GD Yo-Man out there in Phoenix. This is a typical Phoenix scene, I would say. Enormous SUVs in a desert. I guess this is illustrating the evolution of Suburban generations.
Yeah, when I first looked at this photo, I didn't even notice they were different generations. But yeah, that's like
Yeah.
an early 90s and an early 2000s ish.
Yeah, that seems about right. This is a vehicle that probably would not be legal in Lemons racing, which
No. Yeah.
because we have a 4,200 pound weight limit, and we don't want Miata drivers to get run over by a Suburban. But that kind of segues nicely into the fact that we have something called the Lemons Rally, which it takes place. It's sort of a treasure hunt, scavenger hunt format. Interesting locations and destinations, point system based on finding stuff and the weirdness of your vehicle. And all you need for that is a street registered and insured car. So if you've got a Suburban that's kind of lemony and it can't be raced because it's too heavy, definitely run it in Lemons Rally.
Yep. We've had a few GM SUVs that, late model by Lemon standards that they get the full experience having a late model GM SUV on a rally. It is no less reliable than like a 72 Pinto, for example.
Right. Well, and imagine the comfort. You can sleep in one of these when it craps out.
That's true. I mean, Lemons Rally people have slept in everything from a Golf to one of these to a school bus. So.
Right. All right. Oh, man. God, talk about another car that you used to see around and don't anymore.
Yeah, this is really good.
Yeah, that's really pretty good. So this is from CA Grove or we're gonna say CA Grove, California Grove, maybe, in San Francisco. And this is a Toyota Tercel, but it's the 2-door coupe version. They had a couple of variations of these. And I don't know what this particular one was called, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's almost like a notchback kind of thing happening, with 49 horsepower or whatever they put in these things.
Yeah. These had little tiny, God, I want to say like 1.3 liter at the most. It might have been more like 1.1 or 1.2. They were longitudinally mounted motors, but then front drive, just like an Audi.
That's right.
So they are interesting little vehicles, and I don't know that we've ever seen one of that generation in Lemons.
No, all the Tercels we've had have been the kind of rounder, looks like a Corolla kind of one. This would be first if somebody brought one of these. And Tercels. Awesome Lemons cars. They don't make enough horsepower to hurt themselves. They just kind of tootle.
That's right.
It's pretty great.
Yeah. We've seen an uptick in Tercels in the last couple of years, and like Eric said, sort of later models. But they're around. They're available. They generally don't catastrophically explode, except for that one at the Ridge, which catastrophically exploded.
I should point out, there is a team I know in the Midwest who have attempted for years to race an Alfa Romeo Milano. They're trying to give that up to build a Tercel, and I haven't heard anything from them for about 4 years. So maybe building a Tercel is hard.
Maybe it's hard, and if a team is going from a Milano to a Tercel, maybe they would have been better off like starting with a Camry, like sort of a midpoint between those two cars. But who are we to judge? All right. Ugh. What the? This is from Dr. Olds 01. This looks to be it's parked on top. This is a Fiat. Oh boy, I'm gonna screw this up.
It's a 500. I'm pretty sure
it's not a 600. Yeah, I think you're right. Well, in any case, there's a subtle difference between comically small Fiats between the 500 and 600. I think it's a 600. You can tell because it's bigger. See, I could be totally wrong about that, but it's parked on top of a school bus, and it's got all of this stuff written on it. God, it Could be at a junkyard. I was thinking it was one of those. You'll see VW Beetles and little cars like that used as like a billboard for a business. Like it's up on a pole. It's easy to get up on a pole. It's eye catching, and you put your business's name on the side. The thing about this picture that suggests that that's not the case is that there's like 20 business names on this thing. Right. So I don't think it's like the entrance to an office park that has all this stuff in there. And then B, it's parked on top of a school bus. So this, I feel like it's just some crazy guy's junkyard.
Yeah, I think that's as right as anything that we could guess out of it. I do love that. For some reason, the percentage of like weird European stuff I see, mounted as signs is, it's never a Pinto, which is still a light car when you take everything out of it. Yeah. In Oregon, Illinois, which is a place, there is a Hillman Husky on top of some random building. And he's driving down the road, and the last thing you expect to see in rural Illinois is a Hillman Husky on top of a building. And there the damn thing is.
It's been a while since I've been to New Hampshire Motor Speedway, but I recall that in the area, like on the way, there's a car on a pole advertising some business, but I don't remember what kind of car it is.
I think it's either a Fiat or some Austin Mini variant, like an 1800 or something like that.
Well, if any NHMS racers are watching, post in the comments what the car on the pole on the way to the track is, because I'm sure one of you guys knows. All right. Second to last entry. Oh, man.
Whew, that's got to be like an 80-ish.
Yeah, I was going to say, 79, 80 Camaro. This is from Chris Blizzard, longtime Lemons racer. So we have a running joke in Lemons that I was going to say everybody asks about, but in fact, nobody asks about it. But the joke is that we spell Camaro with an E, as you can see Chris has done in the description for this vehicle, Camero. And the reason why we do that, which again, nobody asks because maybe they don't realize that it's wrong, is that if you go onto Craigslist, a huge percentage of the Camaros for sale are spelled that way. And we aren't Camaro owners. The guys on Craigslist selling their cars are, so they obviously should know better than us how to spell the name of their vehicle. So we've just deferred to them, and that's why we spell it that way.
That's right. Craigslist style guide. That's how it works.
Exactly. That's also the reason why we use the word immaculate instead of immaculate. I thought that immaculate was the correct word, but no, according to Craigslist, immaculate. All right. Our 10th and final car for this episode is, See, so this is back to Johan and Scottsdale, Arizona, and this is the kind of thing that I really expect to see in Scottsdale, which is a Mercedes SL that has driven through an outdoor patio at like a strip mall. And oh man, I can just picture the octogenarian that was driving this and stepping on the gas instead of the brake to cause this to happen.
I mean, at the top of the show, I said something about post a cool picture, and maybe if it was in funny circumstances, this was the exact photo I was thinking of in that situation.
Well, so this is potentially how you could find a modern Mercedes SL for Lemon's money, maybe. Somebody in the comments on this post says, I thought only Teslas do that. And, that's a dig at Tesla's occasionally glitchy self-driving mechanism. I would say that Tesla's self-driving mechanism was created because of stuff exactly like this, because old people can't drive and the less control they have, the better. And, maybe a Tesla would have crashed, or, maybe the number of crashes would be not zero, but way less. So,
yeah, man, that is fantastic. Well done, Johan, to capture that.
Yeah, that is,
and not get run over.
That's a nice find. All right, well, that takes us to the end, and that means we have to select our winners. Again, we select the hooptiest and the Lemons build of the week, and the hooptiest is just the hooptiest, and the Lemons build is the one that we think could become a real Lemons race car. So, Eric, you were in charge of the hooptiest. What did you select?
I mean, the Fiat on top of the school bus is peak hoopty, but I think I'm going to go with, I mean, when you buy a Fiat, you have low expectations, but I think I'm going to go with the car that promised the turbo zone and had no promise of delivering that after 3 months of ownership. The Fuego Turbo, just
there
one
it
of
is.
The most atrocious things. Although I will say the wheels, the front wheels at least, those are super good.
Yeah, I think those are the factory front wheels, and there is no question that the Fuego Turbo is in fact the hooptiest, and I am going to say that it is also the Lemons car build. We've got a 2-for-1 this week. I mean, from day one, literally day one, we've said, what do we want to see race at Lemons? And it is a Renault Fuego. And we've had one to date. So there's plenty of room for more. This one, you've got to go to Panama City to get it, but I'm sure that you could find one elsewhere. It'll be a little bit of a challenge, but this is both the hooptiest and the Lemons car build. And if you actually bring one to Lemons, you are going to be a contender for a very high honor.
Yeah, definitely. In a perfect world, we would have a field full of Renault Fuegos racing, but there would be a whole lot of nothing happening during the actual race because everybody would be fixing their pieces of shit. So
spec Renault Fuego is one of those ideas that's probably better on paper than in practice. All right, well, that does it for this week. Again, go on to Instagram. When you see an interesting car in the wild, post it to your account, but with the hashtag Lemons Car Spotting. We'll find it. We'll talk about it. Maybe it will be a daily double award winner like this Renault Fuego. So until then, happy car spotting. It's really too bad that they didn't keep the factory wheels for the back as well, although it does create a certain je ne sais quoi to have the mismatched ones.
Yeah, I mean, it does affect the collector value of that one, though.